In a sense, the manage columns and reduce rows does one and the same thing. It allows you to reduce the number of columns that you've got, or reduce the number of rows that you've got. So, choosing columns. There are two options within this. Choose columns and go to column. Go to column just highlights a particular column. It doesn't apply an additional step. It's just like me clicking on a column at the top. Now, if you want to highlight more than one column, you can do that by clicking on a column and then going to another column and holding down the Shift button on your keyboard, and it will highlight all of that as a range. So I have highlighted column 2, column 3 and column 4 by clicking on column 2, holding down Shift and clicking on column 4. Alternatively, you can highlight disparate columns, in other words not just a range, but this column and this column and this column, by clicking on one column and then holding down Control and then clicking on any other columns. So none of these column selections that we've just had a look at actually are a step. It's only when you do something to those columns that they become steps. Now, choose columns is saying what columns do you want to keep. So let's say I wanted to keep only the first 2 columns. Well, I can select all or unselect all of the columns and then select the first 2 columns. Click OK, and that's all I get, these first 2 columns. Now you'll notice that the formula at the top is table.select columns. Now this is in 2 parts. The first part references the previous step. So the previous step was called change type 1. So it says from change type 1, give me, and then it gives me a list. And this list is in curly brackets. So from that you can see we are in the table sort of functions, we are selecting columns, we're selecting this table, and we're saying we just want these columns. Now, incidentally, if you don't want any step to be called what you are calling it, that's fine, no problem. Just right and click on it and go to rename. So I'm going to call this create errors because that's all that step did. And now you'll see that this formula is calling table.select columns create errors. This little symbol, which is called the hash or the pound sign, is used to say what follows is an identifier. So something which is called create errors, give me this range of columns. Now, just as there is something called table.select columns, there is also something called table.remove columns. So if I go into remove columns, we've got no dialog box here. I can either remove the column or columns that I've highlighted. So that's removed the first column, and you can see the formula table.remove columns, and I want that particular column removed. It's still a list, even though it's a list of 1, so it's still in curly brackets. Or you can say, I want every single column to be removed apart from this particular one. So remove other columns. And so we get exactly what we had a few minutes ago, table.select columns, even though we've clicked on remove other columns. So you can see in this interface, there are many ways to do exactly the same thing. Now, while we're talking about columns, we can also rearrange the columns. So let's say I wanted column 4 to become first. Well, all I do is highlight column 4 and just drag it all the way to the left. And you notice that becomes another step, and it's called the formula is called table.reorder columns. So this is quite useful because let's say I wanted to reorder a lot of columns. Well, I don't have to go around dragging each all over the place. I can just change the formula. So I want column 13 to be after column 4. No problem. I'll just change the formula. It's done. Equally, if I was now dragging column 2 at the very beginning, you'll notice that it has not created an additional step. What it's done is changed the formula for the previous step. So don't think, well, I'm going to move one column to the left and then I'm going to use a different column to the middle and another column to the right, that's going to create 3 steps. It's not. The computer is intelligent enough to go, let's add this to the previous step. So in this video, we had a look at how to highlight columns, either by just clicking on them or by go to the columns. Incidentally, go to column is also available in the view section if you want to use it there. We also removed any columns that we didn't want. We could either choose the columns we wanted to keep, or we could highlight the columns and say, I want to remove these columns or remove other columns. And we also saw how to reorder the columns as well. And the vast majority of what we've done didn't require one single typing of M code. No formulas whatsoever. It created them, and again, how much you want to use them is down to you. I'll keep mentioning them, but when we're just using the interface, you can completely forget about them if you so wish.